Hey everybody, welcome back to Harris Family Adventures. This is the last, I believe, unless I have enough questions to do another one, like a Q&A. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below. In my Valentin series. So we were there from June 25th to June 30th. That had been our fourth time to Valentin. I have 3 other videos talking about the rooms, the pools, entertainment, the drinking, the dancing, all of it. So you can go back and watch those, or you can watch last year. Last year I actually did 1 video for each day that we were there. This time is a little bit different. Again, this is the last video and this is traveling to and from. I am an anxious traveler. I am 40. I am firmly in that generation. I want to be at the airport 6 hours early. I want paper boarding passes. I want to sit at my gate and watch the plane come in. I'm tracking the plane coming in. I am that generation, so just know that. We flew from Omaha, which is about an hour from our house, to Midway. We actually flew Southwest this time. We hadn't flown Southwest in about 5 years. The check-in was incredibly easy. Love that. I mean, the Omaha airport at 4 a.m. is never gonna be too much of a struggle, but there was a lot longer line at United, which is what we flew earlier in the summer. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, this is nice. We flew to Midway. I've never been to Midway. Been to O'Hare, never been to Midway. And yes, O'Hare is really crowded, but I kind of missed that hustle and bustle. We had about a 2-hour layover, so we walked as far as like we could either direction. I don't know. I think I'd rather do O'Hare, but we landed then in Terminal 4. I do think we landed in Terminal 4 5 years ago, because that was the last time we flew Southwest to Cancun. Typically we land in Terminal 3. My information has been about Terminal 3 specific. Terminal 4 is a little bit of a different experience. The layout is different, so that kind of threw us. You have the same kind of customs, just like last time. When you go either down the escalator, if you're in Terminal 3, or you arrive, and if you're in Terminal 4, over to the left, there's kiosks. I don't really know how those work. I was sitting next to a travel agent who was sitting next to another travel agent on the way down, and they were gonna do the kiosks. And so I said to Justin, like, maybe we should do the kiosks, but we know how to do regular, so we did regular. The line seemed to move a little bit faster this time. It wasn't crazy, and we got through it, walked to our baggage claim, bags weren't there, walked all the way back to a bathroom, then back to the baggage claim, and that's when that travel agent showed up. So the kiosk for her went very slowly. That could have just been a one-off occurrence, I don't know. And this was a Sunday around noon when we landed. So there wasn't a form to fill out either. Again, when we went earlier this summer, this was the first time we hadn't had to fill out any kind of paperwork on the plane before landing, which was really nice. Now, in Terminal 4, the TV screens, and there were signs like, scan this QR code to fill out your migration form, But I was like, we didn't do it before. We were just here. It had been literally 3 weeks since we had been down there, and we hadn't done it before, so I was like, so I didn't do it. There was a family in front of us that was like frantically trying to pull it up and trying to get all of their stuff typed in. No one ever asked us for that, so I may have broken the law, I don't know, but I didn't see anybody else doing it. So I don't really know what that system is. Maybe they're still trying to figure that out too. This time in Terminal 4, after you leave Customs and Immigration, there's a store. I was trying to figure out the order of things, but yes, first, there's kind of a store that you walk next to. So I guess if you wanted to, maybe, you're flying in and you're not going to an all-inclusive and you wanted to purchase some things that were too big to put in your luggage or something like that, there are some options there. We didn't look at them very thoroughly because, again, we were so just like discombobulated. Have you ever gone to a Target that's the opposite of your Target and then you're just really thrown off? That's what it was like. Like, I don't understand where's the bathroom? There's always a bathroom here, and there wasn't. It was just kind of confusing. Luggage didn't take very long to fill out, but we did notice there was a lot of security, like a lot. We'd just been there. We just flown in 4 weeks previous. This time there's security guards walking all around. I think the time before we'd seen one dog. There were dogs. It was just kind of, and then we got our bag and we went to walk out and they said they needed to check through our bags and they were directing everyone to that room. It wasn't just like a random, literally every person. Now went really quickly, but they didn't just like open our big bag and look in. They opened my little carry-on, our wheelie carry-on, our big suitcase, and they like looked through it. So I don't know what's going on in Terminal 4, but I just really want Terminal 3 back. Okay, there was still a shark tank. You still had to walk through a hallway where they're saying like, no, 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 you have to come over here. This is where your ride is. You have to come here. So again, please do not listen to them. Do not listen to anyone in the Cancun airport who does not have a gun on them, I guess. Like, of course you want to listen to the security guards, but otherwise, even if they have a really nice uniform and they are saying that is where you get your ride, do not listen to them. Then we got outside. The Valentin has offered, as long as we have gone, if you stay 5 nights or more, you get free transfers from the hotel to the airport, both ways. We've always stayed 4 nights. That's just kind of our preferred length of time. Justin was like, let's do 5 nights this time. So we did. I think I want to go back to 4 nights. So we were like, oh great, we're gonna have transportation. I emailed the Valentin the Monday before we were gonna leave. So we left on a Sunday, emailed them Monday morning. I found the email address on their website under transportation, and I let them know like the airline we were coming in, our flight number, what time, all of that. They gave me directions. They gave me a PDF to print out. They said, please email us back to let us know you've gotten this email, which I really appreciate. That's the kind of organization I'm here for. So I printed that out, and it said, if you're in Terminal 4, which we didn't even know we were in Terminal 4, we knew we weren't in a regular terminal. Here's what to look for. It was kind of confusing. They said, you'll have your name on a sign. We didn't see our name on any signs. We're looking around, we're looking back at the email, like, what? And then a guy came up to us and he was like, oh, are you looking for, somehow we realized he was looking for us. He had the sign, but he had it down next to him. And then he was like, oh, this is your name? I was like, yeah, that's our name. Would have been helpful if you were holding it up. He's like, okay, stand here for just a couple minutes. I'll grab you a cab. Okay, great. Then somebody came. We're like, okay, thank goodness, because it was real hot. He had us go somewhere else and stand there for a while. If you guys saw our Barcelona video, you know I don't do well in the heat. I have a vasovagal response to things. My heart rate spikes. I tend to pass out. So I'm now squatting down because there's no place to sit. There's no shade. Like, there's shade, but where they wanted us to stand, we were in the shade, and they told us to stand right there. So we waited probably 10, maybe 15 minutes before the taxi came. Now, last year when we went, we did Canada transfers, and as we're standing there, Justin said, we're doing Canada transfers again. And he didn't just say that in the little heat of the moment. We've talked about that since. We're gonna do Canada transfers. I think before it was like $80 round trip for 2 people, private transportation, and they were fast. They were super fast. So even if we stay for 5 nights, we probably won't use the Valentin transfer. It could have just been an anomaly. Maybe that's really strange, and if we did it 100 more times, it'd go well 100 more times, but it did not go well. We ended up getting a cab that did not smell good. It was kind of dirty. Didn't love the whole experience. It took us about 30 minutes. So again, our plane landed at 12:10 to get through customs and immigration and bag check, to get our bags, to wait for the car, to get to the drive. We went to check in. They said, it's too busy. Why don't you go eat lunch? We were sitting down eating lunch at 2:30. So again, it took about 2 hours and 20 minutes from landing to get through all of that, which is, I think that's pretty good. I kind of like that. All right, lunch, that's in the dining video. Activities, drinking, our room, the check-in experience, that's all in the other videos. Go watch those. I'll link them down below. Leaving. So they use a company called Feral Spar. And coming back, it was better. There's some construction around the Cancun airport. So instead of normal pickup times for a 1:15 flight, they're picking us up at 9:15, 4 hours before. But I'm kind of here for that. 9:15, it's not crazy early. That gives us lots of time to get there. So we ended up leaving at 9:15. Then we got there, and they always have had this at the Cancun airport. They have somebody that comes up that's like, I'm ready to help you. You don't have to have them help you. You don't. If you have them help you, you have to tip them. Is that a law? No. You really, 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 really should tip them. We've always used them though. We're always like, we are tired. We are always a little bit sunburned. We are just do this for us. This guy was amazing. He took our bags, 2 heavy bags. I still had my, like the little carry-on that had all of our stuff in it. He does all of the check-in. Could I do it myself? Absolutely. but he did it all. He got us where we needed to be. He did everything for us, lickety split, so easy peasy, loved him. We then went through security, and I'm just laughing because I'm looking at my notes. We were at our gate by 10:20. So it took just a little over an hour for us to drive to the airport, get checked in, get our bags turned in, get through security, get to our gate. So we probably didn't need to leave at 9:15, but you know what? It's fine. No big deal. I don't love the Cancun airport. Typically, one of the things that I don't love about it is that you don't know what your gate is. They do not tell you what gate you have until about 45 minutes before departure. So you're kind of in that holding area. You can go to other gates. They don't prevent you from going to other gates, but you're not gonna walk all the way down to this end of the terminal and then find out that your gate's at this end. I mean, you can if you want. Southwest, I will say this about Southwest, is that, because there's some things I don't love about it, they told us our gate number. It was on our boarding pass, so we knew what gate we were. We went and sat down. I kind of had noticed off to the side, it's called, and I typed it here, the Mara Business Lounge, and I didn't really know what that was, but I was like, we're flying Southwest. There's no lounges for us. But then I brought it up on my phone, and I've seen different information. I've looked a couple times now. It's between $30 and $35 a person, and it appears to be a lounge. Like you would go to a lounge where there's drinks and there's food and it's a little bit quieter and there's access to charging and more comfortable seats. And honestly, I didn't even really dig into that until about an hour before we were supposed to leave. If I would have known that, we would have done that, because I ended up spending probably $20 on like some chips and a drink for Justin and I, just to kind of get us through our sit time there. Knowing we were going to St. Louis to have even a longer sit time, I would have happily paid $60. And there was a guy and he was like handing out things. So I don't know if they were coupons. I don't know how that works, but I do know there was another family that came, and then she kind of went to investigate it, and she came back and they had a little one. So it was like an older person and then a couple and then their little one. And she said, we're doing that. She's like, we can get food, we can get something to drink, there's a place for him to run around. That's where we're gonna go. So I would, if you're gonna be, I mean, of course, how much time do you have? But if you have a couple of hours and you're gonna be buying food anyway, I think that lounge is the way to go. And again, it's not associated with any airline. It's just a private business that's set up there as a lounge. So I would like that. The flight was full. It was an okay flight. It was completely full. We tried to we went towards the very back and tried to do the aisle and window, and I ended up sitting in the middle because it didn't work, which is fine. Then we flew to St. Louis. All right, buckle in. This is a real doozy. The last time I flew through St. Louis Airport, I'm fairly certain was in 1995 on our way to the Fiesta Bowl, which Nebraska won. And I don't remember it well. Don't really remember it well. It was gross. Like, we got off the plane, and to get to customs, well, first of all, we had to fill out a paper form on the plane. I downloaded that mobile passport app. St. Louis isn't an option, so I'm filling out a paper on the plane. So we get off, and I kind of smell cigarette smoke, and I think like, oh, it's somebody around us. And I thought, well, that's weird. Like, we've all been on a plane for 4 hours not smoking. No, that was just the smell. It just, okay, great. And I needed to use the restroom because I had been on a middle seat for 4 hours, even though Southwest didn't offer me a beverage, which is fine. Okay, so I'm like, I kind of need to use the restroom. There's no restrooms before you get to customs and immigration. Then we get there, the line moves pretty quickly. We stood in line for like 5 minutes, no big deal. Then there's the bathroom, and there's the luggage carousel. So I said, Justin, you look for our bags, I'm gonna go to the restroom. The restroom was like a state fair. Like, I was telling Reese later, I have definitely been in gas station bathrooms that were much better. Like, it just was dirty and the tile was cracked and it was just not good. And it feels like we're in a basement and it smells like cigarette smoke, and I was just like, where are we? What? Anyway, the customs guy, he also asked us like, what are your jobs? I was like, what? Okay, all right. Passed that test, I guess. Then we get our baggage, then you have to he had stamped the form. Then you have to hand the form to the guy to leave. Then I'm used to, yes, I know you have to recheck your check bags. 100%, I get that. Typically, you grab your bags and then you might have to walk through something and then you just hand them off. You just hand them off. And there was kind of like a Southwest lady there, but no one was giving her bags. So I was like, okay, we follow the signs and it says international recheck up this escalator. I was like, oh, okay. Now we're having to take our checked bags, which tend to be big, up an escalator. All right, okay. So we do that. Now we're to just the general check-in area. Like if you were just leaving from St. Louis to fly somewhere, that we're all checking in together. So if you're coming off of a flight or if you're brand new to the day of flying, we're all in the same line. Weird. So we have to wait in the line. Then, but like we don't need boarding passes or anything. So we're just like, oh, we just need this. She has to check her passports. We give her our luggage because it already has the baggage tags on it, like going to Omaha, final destination. Then we have to go through security. Again, not security for people. Sorry, it's the 4th of July when I'm recording this, so we have a lot of fireworks. In Nebraska, people just shoot fireworks. It's real crazy. Anyway, it's not the security line for people who have already been through security, not left a secure area, just going through another quick security. And sometimes it's still a disaster. Houston, we all know I hate Houston. They just yell at you all the time. I get that. Chicago, it's not great. But this is like security with everybody. So we're going through security again. I'm like, if you guys saw our Italy videos from last year and I came back still feeling this way a year later, it would have to be a free flight for me to ever fly through Toronto again. It would have to be a free flight for me to fly through St. Louis again. Yeah. So we landed at 4:15, I think, 4:30-ish, probably 4:45, 5 by the time we get done with all that stuff. In St. Louis, it's about a 7-hour drive from our house. And I joked, like, we should just drive home because our flight wasn't until 10:15 that night. It wasn't until 10 that night, getting back at 11:15 into Omaha. Like, we should just drive home. We'll be home in the same time. Joking, haha. Because once I saw, like, oh, we're out of the secure area. Like, there's just people dropping off their loved ones for flights with us. Okay, we have all of our luggage. We could just leave right there and just get a rental car. Joking. We find our gate. We get there. It's not hard because St. Louis isn't a huge airport. And then we need to eat. We need to eat real food. Well, as real as you're gonna get. So we kind of walk around. There's options. Okay, so we decide California Pizza Kitchen. They only have cauliflower crusts left. So we find a place called Blue Note. It was delicious. I got a BLT sandwich. The bread was 10 out of 10, so yummy. It came with fries that were also really good, and it was $12. I think $12.99, $13. Justin got a hamburger. It didn't come with fries. I think it was supposed to. They were very, very busy. His was 15, so we shared the fries. We both got glasses of water, but I mean, it wasn't terrible for airport. I didn't think that was too bad. And we had lots of time, so it was fine. We're sitting there, we're people watching, we eat. One of the things we did notice just really quickly is all of the signs where they say like gates and arrivals and departures, they had just taken a piece of like computer paper and written, signs aren't working right, check the app. Like, okay, this isn't a rinky-dink production. This is an international airport. Okay, great. So there's that. We'll get to that later. So we finish, people around us keep checking their phones for like flight information. We finish our meal. We go to our gate. They have like the bar to sit at, not like a drinking bar, like a bar to sit at with stools. So we're sitting there. They have plugins. Some of the plugins work, some don't, so don't just think that my phone's plugged in, it's charging. It's not. I have my portable chargers, so we're charging, because they didn't have charging on the plane. There you go, Southwest. And I just bring up the weather app. And this is June 30th, so it's already a Friday. It's already summer of 2023, airline travel, and it's predicting storms around 10. And I said, I don't feel good about this, Justin. There goes $25. But we're in the Midwest, and we know, because normally we love storms, and so we'll get really excited, like, oh, storms tonight, like 75% chance, and then nothing happened. So we still were a couple hours out, no big deal. We're just kind of, you know, people watching, reading books. We're back on like American internet, so we're just kind of like checking emails and that type of thing. Filling time, no big deal. I will say it was noisy. The big garbage cans in St. Louis aren't one of my new nemesis because they're so noisy, and they just like slowly walk them down the hallway, and it's just real crazy. As the night goes on, the weather looks better, and then it looks worse, and then it looks better, and then it looks worse. And then at about 9:15-ish, we're supposed to start boarding at 9:30. So 9:15-ish, we were sitting by the windows. We'd changed to more comfy chairs at that point. We're sitting by the windows, but facing away from them. And I saw a flash of light. And I said, was that lightning? Justin said, yep. And then we heard the thunder, because I kept saying, we can fly in rain. We just can't have lightning. Because I watch a lot of flight attendants on YouTube. Kat Nesbitt, watch her flying with Stella. Then the hail came. There's a lot of hail. And then they just kept making these announcements really, really loudly. There is severe weather headed toward the airport. Please do not sit in your windows. Y'all, that's all that airports have are windows. Okay. So I'm kind of realizing there's gonna be a situation here. And here's the thing. I know that they don't know what an hour from now looks like, 2 hours. I totally understand that. They are not fortune tellers. And I get they don't want to say the flight's going to be delayed an hour and then it's wrong, because then all of a sudden the storm lets up and we're able to do a half hour. People are like, well, you told me it was going to be an hour, or now it's 3 hours. People are like, well, you told me it's going to be an hour. I get that. But I think just like a little bit of communication would be helpful. The board at the gate, the TV screen at the gate kept saying, oh, and they were coming over the announcements constantly saying like, don't use the boards, guys, don't use them. Okay, maybe just like fix that. Okay. And it's still showing we're boarding in like 4 minutes, and it's lightning. So I'm like, no, that's not right. Just don't say that. If it's lightning, we're not boarding in 4 minutes. That's just not true. Okay. So I don't want to go into minute by minute because that's not what you came for. But basically our flight ended up taking off I'm trying to look here because I was trying to think of the time. Our flight ended up taking off at about 2:30 in the morning. It was originally scheduled for 10, but we did get out of the airport that night. The crew that had come in had timed out, because that's the other thing is like, okay, there's the storms, and I get that. There's waves of storms though, so even when we get past this storm, there's another one coming, so tick tock, tick tock. I also know from my flight attendant videos, flight crew can time out, pilots can time out, flight attendants can time out. I also know that there's that domino effect of this and this. The plane that was coming in that we were supposed to get on, they circled for a while. I'm watching all of this on FlightAware. No one is telling us anything. I'm watching this on FlightAware, so I see that it's circling. I see it's going to Midway. I'm thinking they have to refuel. I'm seeing it's not taking off from Midway for a bit because Midway is now a disaster, and now it is coming back to us. I know, and I was giving like people around us like, oh, our plane is an hour away. Our plane is a half hour away. No one is telling. They're like, how do you know this? Like, do you know somebody that works for the airline? No. I'm having to use resources that I just happen to know, but these are resources available to anyone. So why aren't you guys telling us? Like, the plane coming in ended up having to go Midway to refuel. You can tell people that. That has happened. That is the truth. Like, people were crying. Some people were just camping out. I felt so bad for the little kids. Like, there were little kids that just, it was awful. We ended up getting on our plane at about 1:20. But then again, the flight crew that had come in, they had timed out. They were trying to get them switched from being crew members to passengers so that they could get back on our flight and fly back to Omaha with us. And we were sitting there for 40 minutes while they tried to get that done. I don't know what the problem is. I was like, we will pay for a hotel for them. They can sit on my lap, and I know that's not legal. Like, Southwest Airlines, the weather is not your fault, and I get that, but like, you knew they were going to be timed out because the flight from Columbus to St. Louis has now taken like 4 hours. Like, you knew they were going to be timed out. Why are we figuring this out when the plane is full? The passengers are all seated. There's a storm system coming in, and we now have another crew that could time out. Like, anyway, we landed in Omaha at 3:30. We got home about 4:30, and I went to bed at about 5:45 that morning. That was traveling to and from Mexico. Do not recommend Terminal 4. I would say do not recommend Southwest Airlines, but I've been reading that United was an even bigger disaster, so I just think there was going to be disasters regardless, and then we ran into a thunderstorm, so yeah, that was fine. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm just going to calm down now, just going to relax and try to forget that entire day. See you guys next time.
Can't forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through.